Hello everyone, I have just unboxed what is likely to be my final box from the fairyloot adult fantasy monthly subscription box. I haven't canceled my subscription yet. I'm still waiting for that one Instagrammer to post what they think the August book will be, because if the August book is something really good, then I won't cancel my subscription. But in all likelihood, I will be canceling my subscription, okay? I just kind of wanted to talk about why I'm canceling my subscription and my experience with fairyloot, because I do have some thoughts and feelings, and some more negative leaning thoughts and feelings. And I feel like generally people talk very positively about fairyloot, and I think people talk very well about it for good reason, right? Fairyloot is, I think, legitimately pretty good. I think people see it as a very prestigious, or a more prestigious book subscription box in the book community. It's reasonably priced with really nice editions. I mean, like, for at least the adult fantasy subscription box, the books are $28 a month, which is about what you would pay for any old regular hardcover at any bookstore today, which is kind of crazy. I don't think a regular hardcover should be $30. But I mean, hey, if the options are regular hardcover for $30 or nice hardcover from fairyloot for $30, you might end up choosing fairyloot because these are nicer editions. With shipping, they are $40, for me at least, okay? Which I think is a little crazy, okay? I don't want to be spending $40 on a box. So for some background, I have been subscribed to fairyloot since October, and in that time I have skipped a couple of months, I think like 2. The first big thing about fairyloot for me is that I specifically chose the adult fantasy book box because I felt that that was the book box that would be most aligned with my genre interests. Okay, I don't really like romantasy, and I don't really like YA, and obviously YA is not a genre. It's like a whole bunch of genres for an age group. Obviously, fairyloot makes it very clear what books are in their boxes. Okay, they have a whole backlog of like, these are all the books that we've put in our boxes before. So that's kind of on me. But the books that have come are not books that I would have otherwise bought if I was not subscribed to fairyloot. They aren't books that I like absolutely hate and would not read, okay? There's a reason why I have skipped some ones, and that's because they are books that I would not have read, okay? They were books that I did not care about. For these books, though, these again are not books that I would generally reach for, and I think it's good that it's like, it's sending you books that you wouldn't reach for, or for me. But of these 6 books, I have read 2. Okay, I've read The Teller of Small Fortunes and Sorcery and Small Magics, and I didn't love either of them. I gave both of them 3 stars, and I would not read them again. The Courting of Bristol Keats I started, and within 50 pages, I knew that I was not going to finish it because I do not like it. It is not a book that I am interested in. It is not a book that I want to read. Immortal, Gifted and Talented, and The Night and the Moth are all books that I, again, would not generally reach for and would not go out and buy on my own. But because I have them, I am interested in them and I will read them. But I feel like there's a reason why I didn't choose the romantasy book box, right? And a lot of these books, and the books that I skipped, are romantasy, okay? Night and the Moth is romantasy. Immortal is romantasy. The Courting of Bristol Keats is romantasy, and Sorcery and Small Magics is romantasy. So, of these 6 books, 4, as far as I'm aware, are romantasy. And now they have this new epic fantasy subscription box, which I think the first book that they are doing for that is The Devils by Joe Abercrombie, which is a book that I am legitimately interested in and will probably go out and buy to read on my own without it being sent to me from a subscription box. Because I'm not subscribed to the fucking epic fantasy subscription box. I signed up for the waitlist. They did not let me in. But I feel like, generally speaking, the kind of books that should be coming in the adult fantasy subscription box should be that kind of book, right? And you can argue, okay, well, there's a difference between adult fantasy and epic fantasy. And sure, but if you're just going to do more romantasy, then maybe that should be in the romantasy box and not in the adult fantasy box, because I chose the adult fantasy box because I don't like romantasy. I will read them now and again, okay, and some of them are really good. And again, books like Immortal and The Night and the Moth, I will read, I am interested in, but I feel like if you're just going to be sending out romantasy, why have 2 different boxes for adult fantasy and romantasy if it's the same fucking genre that you're doing? If that makes sense. I have other problems with fairyloot. With at least the adult fantasy subscription, I feel that some of these editions do not have the thought or care or intention put into them that the romantasy and the YA boxes have. And the biggest thing that I think points to this is the fact that with this subscription box alone, in the time that I have been subscribed, there have been no wet signings in any of these books, okay? All of them are digital signatures. And a wet signature is just like, oh, it was done by pen, by hand, in each book. But I do know that in the time that I've been subscribed to the adult fantasy box, the YA box and the romantasy box have both received books with wet signatures. I would assume that the YA box and the romantasy box are more popular, okay? I'm gonna be honest. When I first signed up for the fairyloot waitlist, I accidentally signed up for the romantasy box first. On accident. I did not mean to. Okay. And I probably waited 9 months to get off that waitlist for the romantasy box. And then I was like, fuck, I didn't mean to do that. Let me re-sign up for the adult fantasy one. And I re-signed up for the adult fantasy one. And I got into that within 5 months. And maybe it was the fact that I had already been on the waitlist for the romantasy, and that is why my time was shorter. But I think part of it might just be that the romantasy box is more popular and that more people are getting it. And I don't know about the YA, but the YA is kind of fairyloot's like cornerstone book box, and therefore they might care about it more. Furthermore, and this is again a very personal thing, I don't love the designs of a lot of these books. I think they are nice editions. I think I'm not going to contest that, but I feel like for me, what I'm looking for in a special edition is not just, oh, it looks nice and it has sprayed edges. I want it to be an upgrade from the original hardcover edition. Night in the Moth is the most recent book that I opened, and I feel like this is probably the nicest edition that I've received so far. There seems to me to be real care and thought put into the setup of this book and what was included and the art that was included and like why it looks like this, right? And all the sides are sprayed edges, patterned sprayed edges. I just feel like this is a really nice edition. I think with Gifted and Talented, especially, like this is probably my least favorite cover, and I think this is actually a downgrade from the original cover, and I don't want that. If I'm getting a nice edition, I want it to look nicer than the original cover. If I'm to judge a book by its cover, this is not a book that I would reach for based off of its cover. And the same thing with Immortal. This is another edition that I think is really nice, but I feel like it's not completely cohesive. And really it's like, these are all separate elements. Like you have the outside, and then you have the inside, and that's a different thing. And then you have the inside, which is a different thing. And I don't know. I want it to feel more cohesive. Top and bottom for Cording and Bristol Keats, they're sprayed, but they're not patterned. And if I'm paying ultimately $40 a month for a book, which again, that's part of it is shipping costs. About 25% of that is shipping costs. But if I'm paying that much, I want the top and bottom to be patterned. Like, I don't know, is that too much to ask? I'm sorry. I want a wet signature and I want the top and bottom to be patterned. If the sides can be patterned, like why not the top and bottom? Like you could have put like a cloud up here or something, and then like I don't know, worms. Fuck, dude, come on. I'll give you my ideas for free. Both this and the Courting of Bristol Keats, like these aren't covers that I would reach for. They're very text heavy and pattern heavy. I don't love that. I don't love text and pattern heavy. I like design. I want there to be one central image that I am looking at. That's probably why I like The Night and the Moth so much, because it's like, it's a girl. You see the girl. She's like the main figure on the cover. So that's like my design qualms. And obviously that's again a very personal thing. And if you like the look of these books, dude, go for it. There's always parts of it that are so beautiful. Look, that's gorgeous. And I love the art. But specifically with the dust jackets. For some reason, it's always the dust jackets. Something about them puts me off. And there's usually at least one side that I think is very, very beautiful. Why can't it be both sides? And this is a quality thing. And I don't know if this is like fully, oh, this actually means it's higher quality, because this probably does mean it's higher quality. But when I open this book up, this hardcover book, this is how it lays. I'm just holding it, okay? Like it separates into reams. And if I try to open one of these that I have not read Immortal, okay? And if I try to do that, it like slips around. Oh my god, I'm actually destroying this book right now. Like it doesn't stay open, it doesn't lay. You know, maybe that's a sign of high quality. Maybe that means the binding was really tight, it was done really well, whatever. That's not how I want my books to lay, okay? I have here a hardcover. Normal hardcover, okay? This is not a fairyloot edition. This is just a fucking edition that I bought at Barnes & Noble. $30. This is technically more expensive than these. When I haven't read this, okay? And as I was showing you with Immortal, when I open that, it slips closed, which I don't like. Okay. And as sidebar, okay, I read these editions. I know a lot of people don't read them. They just collect them and they buy second editions or whatever. They use digital editions. They get them from the library, whatever. They read them that way. I'm not going to buy a second edition. I'm not going to go to the library to get another edition if I already have an edition. That makes it harder to read them. This kind of like the way that it's bound, that it like slips like that. It makes it harder to hold it open. Anyway, so I'm reading them and I don't like that. Again, normal hardcover, haven't read it, see the way it lays. That to me is higher quality. I don't fucking know. Maybe that's not higher quality. Maybe that means it was shittily produced. But I feel like, okay, that feels nicer to me. That feels nicer to hold in my hand than this. You know what I mean? That sucks. Maybe Swordcatcher was a fluke. Here's another book. This is a nicer edition. This is from Walmart though. Okay. This book, $28. So same price as these. Okay. It does have sprayed edges. Let's see. Oh, that was just the paint. But look at how it's laying. Look at how it's laying in my hand. Flat. Flat with no effort. I just open it and it's flat. It's a little bit. But not like that. I haven't opened that book. You heard that I didn't fucking open it because the sprayed edges made a sound. Why? Why? That's the biggest thing for me. That's the biggest thing. That's like, why am I spending all this money? $40 a month. Technically $30 for the books. And then another $10 for shipping. Why am I spending all this money on these books that don't fucking open? The other big thing that I think about, and I don't know if this is true, and there are probably plenty good reasons for this, right? But I feel like the way that fairyloot does its waitlist is kind of predatory. I think it makes people think, oh, this is a nicer book box than it is. It's in higher demand than it is. And it is in high demand, okay? And, you know, there's only so much they can grow production every month if there are more people subscribing every month. But at some point it's crazy. 9 months on the wait list is crazy. And that's how long I waited for the Romantasy box. That's madness. I don't think anybody should be waiting that long, okay? Again, maybe it makes sense. Maybe they can't grow their production because it's like there's just so many people that want these books. That want the subscription and they can't keep up the production. I feel like that's not it though. I feel like that's not it. Anyway, that's why I'm unsubscribing to fairyloot. And in all honesty, I'm still on the wait list for the Epic Fantasy subscription, which is a subscription that I am legitimately interested in. Speaking of, that subscription is currently $33. This one's $28. I don't see why there should be any price discrepancy between those two subscriptions, aside from maybe the fact that the Epic Fantasy one is newer and they're seeing how much people should or would pay for it. Or they're trying to price it based off of demand, whatever. It's all just books. It's all just books. And they're like the same kind of books, same kind of fucking size. I don't know, maybe it's something with the publishers that like it's costing more. I think the Romantasy and the YA editions, all of them are different prices. I think the YA is the cheapest, which makes sense. a lot of this is just my opinion. And the biggest thing for me is the binding thing. Because why the fuck? Why is it bound like that? Why is that happening when I open the books? I don't think that should be happening when I open the books. I don't want to discourage you from not getting the subscription if it's what you really want. If you like these books, if you like the way these books look, I think you should do it. But I also think maybe it's not worth it. If you have similar thoughts or feelings, or if you have different thoughts and feelings, if you feel really positively about fairyloot, let me know. If you feel negatively in different ways, let me know. If you feel the same, let me know. I'd love to hear what other people think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!